All right, so it has been a while since I've done this, and so I wanted to take a moment here and show you how easy, how simple it can be for you to get your PhoneBurner account set up so that you can start smiling and dialing and making more money in less time using the power of PhoneBurner. So let's get into it. Here you can see I'm at PhoneBurner and I'm going to create a new trial. So we're going to click on Start Free Trial. I'm going to enter my email. Now I'm going to enter my first and last name. Let's start that trial. In this particular example, I'm going to be showing you how I'm going to set this up just for myself, but we'll be doing another one where I set it up for a team. So we're going to go ahead and choose for solo use. Continue. I want to connect with more people. And I'm going to use the PhoneBurner CRM. You see, PhoneBurner is integrated with lots of CRMs out there. However, in this particular example, I want to show you how easy it is for you to get up and running and dialing with PhoneBurner using the PhoneBurner CRM. So let's go ahead and continue. And I need to enter a phone number. Oh, looks like I've used that number before to set up an account. Let's go ahead and use a different number. Okay, so we just verified our phone number and we can get started. So let's go ahead and click on Get Started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and import the contacts I want to call. So let's go ahead and import. Grab my demo contact file. Oh, looks like I can only import up to 200 contacts during my trial, so let's grab a different file. Let's grab our superhero list. And now we just need to map the data from our file to the fields in PhoneBurner or create fields for any fields that we don't have in PhoneBurner yet. So we're going to go ahead and map the character first name and last name to the first and last name field in PhoneBurner. We're going to leave these other first name fields. We're going to leave these other fields left to not be imported. We've got the address, city, state, zip, phone number, all pre-mapped. I didn't have to do any mapping there. I've got an additional phone number, so let's go ahead and import that as, let's say, a work phone number. We can also import the email. That's already mapped. We've got a website. Let's go ahead and map that. Looks like PhoneBurner's given us a website field, so we'll just map it to that. Then title. There is no title field, so we're going to go ahead and create a new custom field for that. I'm going to call this title, and I'm going to leave it as a text field. Then I've got this neighborhood field. Let's go ahead and create another custom field. I'm going to copy this, paste it over here as the name, and that's going to be a text field as well. And then we've got this yes. This represents like a checkbox, right? Yes or no. Let's go ahead and create a new custom field for this. What might this represent? Again, it's a checkbox, so yeses are checked, nos are unchecked. This might be something like attended live event. You know, your data is going to be different, so don't dwell too much on what I'm putting in here. I just want to show you how easy it is for you to create custom fields. So here we are creating a date field. This might be, again, it's going to be a date field on PhoneBurner. This might be something like their sign up date, right? Just throwing stuff in there. Another yes or no, another checkbox here. Let's go ahead and choose new custom field or create custom field. We're going to do checkbox again, and we're going to go ahead and set this one up as, let's say, this is a member. Are they a member or not, right? Then we've got our notes going into the notes field. We got the company name. Let's go ahead and map that to company name. You'll see that my field list is getting smaller and smaller as I map things, right? Since you can't map two things to the same field, there's no point in us showing you fields that are already mapped. And then the last one here is a priority field. Let's go ahead and create a new custom field. This is going to be a numeric field, and I'm just going to label this one priority. Paste that in there. And if I wanted to, I could save this as a template. Like if I'm going to import files that are that are laid out exactly the same. Maybe I'm exporting data from the same system over and over and over again. I could go ahead and save this as a template and reuse it. I'm not going to do that in this case. Let's go ahead and hit next. Now we need to choose the folder we want to put the data in. In my particular case, I'm going to just leave this set to go into the contacts folder. I could create different folders for different lists if I wanted to, but in my particular case, the way I feel like I'm going to be building this out is going to be using the contacts folder as the main source, the main place everything goes into. And then I have this option to show more options. I'm going to click on that because I want to do some things here. I want to tag these contacts. So I don't have any tags yet because this is a brand new account, but I might want to create a tag for something like August list, since this is being imported in August. Whatever you want to tag them as. Tags are really nice for searching and filtering through your contacts. I'm not going to do anything with the save search option. We're going to talk about save searches later on. And then lead source. Let's go ahead and create a new lead source. Let's call this one vendor 1. And then I could do duplicate scrubbing. I'm not going to because I know there's duplicates in here by phone number. I could scrub by email, but again, I'm not going to worry about that. I do want to point out that if you do scrub by email or phone, you can decide if you want to just update data or if you want to skip data. I'm not gonna scrub for duplicates at all, so it doesn't matter, and I'm not going to worry about the DNC list scrubbing. Let's go ahead and hit next. Here I see a sample of the data that's going to be imported and how it's mapped. You'll notice that all of the new custom fields that I created are not listed here. No big deal there. They will still get mapped and created on import. So let's go ahead and click on yes, please import. And now the system is processing my file. I can now navigate to the contact manager, but let's go ahead and click on continue to step 3, which is start dialing, right? So if you remember when we first created our account on the welcome screen, step 2 was importing our contacts, and now step 3 is to start dialing. So let's go ahead and click on that, see where that takes us. That takes us to our contact manager where we can see the contacts that we just imported. We're now going to see a tour here. Let's go ahead and see what this tour has to offer us. Let's click next. It's going to tell us how we can select our contacts, right? So we can check the box, select all of those contacts, hit next. Now it's going to tell us how to begin our dial session. We've just selected our contacts. Let's begin our dial session. That's going to pop up our dial session window where we can choose a phone script. And the system gives you a phone script by default. It's just a very generic script. We can choose our dialing and live answer sets. Now granted, you have a dialing and live answer set out of the box. I'm going to show you how you can customize those here, but very easy to get started with PhoneBurner because you've got everything out of the box to get you going. Now obviously we don't have a voicemail recorded for you, so you can't choose one right now until you record one. But I'm going to go ahead and leave that set to none, and then I've got my caller ID. This is the phone number I use to sign up, and then I'm going to dial in power mode. But if I wanted to go through things a little slower, I could use pause and preview. I'm going to leave it set to power, and let's go ahead and continue. Now because PhoneBurner comes out of the box with some emails, we could potentially send during a dial session. We want to make sure that you're as compliant as possible. So you need to add your actual physical mailing address to the canned spam address field here. This will ensure that if you do send an email, let's go ahead and enter an address. Once we've entered our address, let's go ahead and save changes. Now we can get connected. We can either use our headset plugged into our computer, or we can use our phone to dial in. I'm going to go ahead and just use my headset, click on Grant Mic Access. Now I can either set this up to only do it this time, or I can just say, hey, I trust PhoneBurner.com. I don't want to have to answer this question every time. So I'm going to go ahead and click Allow while visiting the site. Now I'm connected. I can start smiling and dialing. So let's go ahead and click Start Dialing. And we're going to start calling through that list of contacts that I just imported. So here you can see it's calling the first record on my list. If they answer, I talk to them. If they don't answer, I can click the no answer button. If they do answer, there's no pause, no delay, no awkward silence. All of my custom field information is over here on the right-hand side. If I click on the phone script option, I'll see the basic phone script that PhoneBurner has provided for me. And you'll see that it has actually merged the contact information in there as well as my information in there. Very basic at this point. Now, if somebody answers live, I click the live answer button. At some point, I don't have to click on that to actually start talking to them. I just click on that at some point so that if I need to put them on hold, I can do that. If I need to transfer the call, I can do that. Now, I can't do that yet because I haven't configured any transfer agents. But when I'm done talking to them, I can click on the end call button. That'll disconnect me from the contact that I called, but I'll still have the contact information up here on the screen, allowing me to add notes. And then I can disposition the contact based off of that outcome. Let's say I talk to Lionel and you know what? He wants me to follow up in a couple weeks. So I choose a follow-up date a couple weeks out. Now I can click the follow-up button and I can move on to my next call. So that's how easy it is to get the account created and actually start making phone calls. But that's just part of using PhoneBurner. And what I want to show you is how you can really configure this account so that you can be as effective and efficient as possible. So there you go. You saw how fast it was for you to actually start making calls. So for some of you, that may be as far as you want to go into this video, but for those of you who really want to see how easy it is to do some basic configuration of your PhoneBurner account, we're going to go ahead and end this dial session, and we're going to close this window, and now we're back at PhoneBurner. I'm going to go ahead and click next. What is our next option here? Start calling. Yep, there it is. Let's go ahead and end the tour. All right, so we've ended our tour. You've seen how easy it is to launch a dial session, but how do we make sure that we're organized and we're systematically working through our contacts? And I'm going to show you something really powerful here in PhoneBurner. I'm going to click on the little chat message right here, this little chat bubble, and I'm going to bring up the PhoneBurner AI chatbot. Now, don't worry, if you ever want to talk to a human, you can always ask for a human and we can reach out to you and we'll try to do it via email because that's the most efficient way for our team to work with you. But if needed, we can schedule an onboarding. Once you upgrade, once you pay, you can schedule an onboarding and our team will be happy to help you configure your account and spend some time with you. But what I want to show you is how easy it is to take advantage of the PhoneBurner AI chatbot here. We call him Finn. You can take advantage of Finn. He knows a lot about PhoneBurner, and we're going to use that to set up our account. So let's think through our data. So we just imported 89 contacts, right? And we put them into our contacts folder. And we will most likely import more data in the future. But right now we've got 89 contacts, and we want to systematically work through these contacts. So let's throw out a hypothetical scenario here. Let's say every time you have a lead list, you want to call those contacts at least 14 times over the next 30 days. And after 30 days, you want to call them once a month, no more than that. Maybe less often, but not more often than that. So you want to create a systematic process to do that. Let's ask Finn how to do that. So let's go ahead and type in. All right, so we just asked Finn, how can I create a systematic way of working through my contacts? I want to call them 14 times over the course of 30 days, and I want to call them one time a month until I either set an appointment with them or they tell me they are not interested. Let's see what Finn gives me here. So let's scroll up here. It looks like I've got some instructions here. You can create the systematic approach using our advanced search and save search features to build out automatic workflows for your 14-day calls over 30 days. For your 14 calls over 30 days, set up your starting point. Put all new contacts in a consistent folder like leads. Now, I put them in contacts, so Finn has just given me an example. Not a problem. But we put ours in the contacts folder. Create a call one search. Folder, your leads folder, total calls equals 0, never been called, and save as call 1. So to do this, I'm going to use the advanced search. Here, I'm going to go down to, what was the first option here? I need to go to the folder section, and I need to choose my folder. Remember, we put them all in the contacts folder. We're going to go to total calls. That's in the dial session section. And we're going to go total calls equals 0, right? Because if they haven't been called yet, we need to call them. And we're going to save this as call 1. And let's go ahead and minimize Fin for a second because I need to hit this little search button. So we click search, and now we've got our call 1 saved search, and you'll see there's 87 contacts that fit that. Now wait a second, I imported 89. Oh, that's right, because we did some sample calls. We did our test calls, right? So it's already helping us. You know, our contacts folder has 88. Our call 1 has 87. But didn't we import 89? Well, one of our contacts got moved into the follow-up folder because we called them and we booked that follow-up, right? So PhoneBurner is going to help us stay organized. Now let's go ahead and get back into Fin. Let's open that back up. What is our next step? Create follow-up searches. Call 2 through 14. We're going to use the same folder. Total call attempts is less than or equal to 13. Last call before 2 days ago, spacing, that's the spacing between the calls, and save as calls 2 through 14. So we go to the advanced search, expand that. We go to the folder. We want our contacts folder selected. We go to dial sessions. We're going to go to total call attempts, less than or equal to 13. And then we also want to take into account the last time they were called. Because if I were to save this as is, let's actually save this without taking into account the last time they were called. Let's go ahead and enter calls 2 through 14. And let's go ahead and minimize Fin again. Let's hit search. Oh, wait. We've got all the same people because 0 contacts, these contacts have been called 0 times. And so that can help, but I also include in this all of the contacts that were called today. So I wouldn't want to necessarily call this contact again because I just called them, right? So I don't want to call the same contacts over and over again every day. So we need to edit this saved search. So I'm going to click on the edit saved search, and this time we are going to take into account, what was it? Last called, and we're going to choose before X days ago, and we're going to put 2 in there. So before 2 days ago. Now we're going to update this search, and you'll see we have 0 contacts that actually qualify for this, right? Because we called 1 today, or we called 2 today. One of them was moved into the follow-up folder, and the other one is still in the contacts folder, but they were called today, and so they won't show up here for at least 2 days. How do we handle the rest of this, right? So the next thing is for our monthly nurture calls. How do we set that up? We're going to use the same folder. Last total call attempts is greater than 13. Last called greater than or equal to 30 days ago. Save as monthly nurture. All right, so let's go ahead and click on the advanced search. We go to folder, choose contacts, dial sessions, total call attempts is greater than, or actually we just want to do greater than, right? Greater than 13. And last called, in this particular case, I would do before X days ago again, and I would do 30. That way, if it's been at least 30 days, they'll show up here. Could be longer than 30 days, but if it's at least 30 days, they'll show up in this view. And let's call this one our monthly nurture. And we'll save this. Now, what's some other advice that we're getting from Fin? Let's go back in here. Pin all saved searches to your dashboard for easy daily access. Start with call 1, then move through your follow-up sequence, then nurture calls. Contacts automatically exist exit this system when you disposition them, appointment set, not interested, etc., by moving them to different folders. Now, here's something. It's assuming that we have already configured our dispositions, but we haven't configured our dispositions yet. So we're going to have to ask Finn a little bit about that. But the first thing I want to do is he mentioned something about pinning. Let's see if he can give us the answer on how to pin these saved searches. How do I pin my saved searches? Does he know this answer? After creating saved searches for existing saved searches, go to Manage Saved Searches and pin them. Alternative method, you find your saved searches below your folders. Click on the gear icon near to get the saved search editing page right here. So below my folders, saved search, I see the gear. And then if I minimize him, I see the pinning options, pin, 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 done. Now if we go to contacts, we see him pinned. Perfect. Thanks, Finn. We're getting this thing all put together. Let's go ahead and expand this. But Finn also mentioned something about, what was it? Contacts automatically exit this system when you disposition them. Appointment set, not interested. Wait, how do I customize my dispositions? How do I customize my dispositions so the contacts move when I click on set appointment? Let's see if we can get some directions here. Let's scroll back down. All right, so we got some instructions. Let's see how well Finn did. To customize your set appointment disposition, to automatically move contacts, access dispositions, click on your initials in the top right corner, go to dial session settings, select dispositions on the left, configure set appointment, find set appointment in your live answer set, edit the button and set it to move contacts to appointments folder. Create the folder first. If you don't have an appointments folder yet, create one by clicking on the gear icon next to the folders and select new folder. Okay, so there's a couple pieces of instructions. Let's go ahead and create our set appointment folder, new folder, set appointment, place it at the top, and of course I could choose different places, right? I can give it a description, I can put it at the top of the folders, above a specific folder, below a specific folder, inside a specific folder. I'm not going to worry about doing that right now. Let's go ahead and just save it. So now we have our set appointment folder. Let's go and edit our disposition. So we minimize that. We click on our initials in the upper right. We go down to dial sessions under settings. Then on the left-hand side, we're going to click on dispositions. I'm going to go ahead and end this tour, but you might want to watch the tour. I've also got some videos here that you can watch to better understand dispositions and customizations here. I'm going to close that, but if you ever need to get that video back, you can watch that video here. So now Finn did say it was in our live answer set, so we're going to edit the live answer set. And we'll see our set appointment button. So I need to edit this. I can edit this in 3 different ways. I can click on the button, set appointment. I can click on the button name, set appointment. Or I can click on the little pencil icon over to the right of the set appointment button. All of those take me here. And Finn said I needed to update the move to folder option to set appointment. Now I just created that folder, so it's there. But I will point out that if you've not already created the folder, you can create that new folder while updating the disposition. So I'm going to show you that on the next one. Let's go ahead and save this one. Let's go to our not interested disposition. So we go not interested. We're going to edit that. We're going to go down to the move to folder option. We're going to create a new folder. We're going to call this one not interested and hit OK. Save changes. And then finally, we've got our do not call button. Let's go ahead and click on do not call. And let's create a new folder. I'm just going to call this one DNC, and make this one a subfolder under not interested and click OK. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit Save Changes. And there we go. We now have a process that we can follow, right? Let's see how this would work for us. Let's go ahead and click on Contacts. Let's go to our Call 1 Save Search. Select all of those contacts and begin a dial session. Brings up that dial session window where we can configure our settings like a phone script, a dialing set, a live answer set, a voicemail recording, all these different things that we haven't configured yet. Right now, we've just configured the process of working through those calls. So let's go ahead and hit Continue. Let's grant mic access. We're now connected. Let's go ahead and start dialing. Here we are. We're calling the Power Man. Let's go ahead and click on live voicemail. So if I want to leave a live voicemail, I stay on the line, I wait for the beep, and then I say what I want to say. When I'm done saying it, I click the live voicemail button. That moves me on to my next call. Now in this particular case, Powerman has 2 phone numbers, so it moves on to the next phone number on this specific record. Let's say he doesn't answer here, and I've already left a voicemail on one phone number, so I'm going to move on to the next call by just clicking No Answer. So now we're calling Colossus. Let's say he doesn't answer either, so we'll click No Answer. Then we move on to the next phone number on Colossus's record. And let's say we want to leave a voicemail here, so we stay on the line, we wait for the beep, and we say what we want to say, and we click Live Voicemail. Now again, if somebody answers live, no pause, no delay, no awkward silence, you just start talking to them. At some point during the conversation, I'm going to click Live Answer. When I'm done talking to them, I'm going to end the call. Make sure you're always adding notes. It's amazing to me how many people don't do a good job of adding notes. Make sure you add notes after every call, every live call. Calls that you make that they don't answer, the system will automatically add a little note like, hey, called on this date, this time, no answer. Called on this date, this time, left a live voicemail, right? That stuff will happen automatically with the dispositions. But let's go ahead and say, obviously I'm not going to worry about adding some notes in here. You get it. I'm going to click on Set Appointment and call the next contact. Well, wait a second. Why did it ask me to call the next contact? Well, the reason why it did is because this contact has multiple phone numbers. There's an additional phone number, and this specific disposition, the Set Appointment disposition, is currently configured to ask me if I want to move on. And so we could adjust that setting if we want. Maybe that's a good question for Finn, right? Maybe we want to ask Finn. See if let's see if Finn knows. All right, how do I change the option on a disposition to call the next contact rather than asking me? Let's see what Finn comes back with. To change your disposition to automatically call the next contact instead of asking, access dispositions. We already know how to get there. Edit the disposition, change the next action setting. All right, let's go ahead and do it. Let's click on our initials, go to dial sessions, go to dispositions, find our disposition. Of course, that was our voicemail, or sorry, not our voicemail, our set appointment disposition. You'll see it's currently set to ask me. If we have set an appointment with somebody and they have additional phone numbers, we don't need to call those other phone numbers. Let's move on to the next contact, right? So we'll go ahead and save changes. Not interested, we might want to do the same thing there. So if they say they're not interested and they have additional phone numbers, let's go ahead and move on to the next contact. Follow-up, same thing. We don't need to be asked. We need to just move on to the next contact. Do not call. Same thing. Definitely don't want to call them again. Let's go ahead and click next contact there. But what about unavailable? We might want to leave that set to ask me. Wrong number. This one we might want to update to the next number. So if the first number is wrong, we'll try the next number for sure. So we've gone ahead and updated those dispositions. And let's go back to our dial session. We'll click on next contact. Now those changes that I just made, updated the dispositions, but we're already in a dial session, so that may not help us just yet. So let's take a look. Let's see if that actually does take effect. So let's go ahead and click Live Answer and Call. And let's say we set an appointment. So let's click on Set Appointment. Oh, look at that. It did actually take effect. So the changes that we made while we were live in the dial session are actually going to be implemented during this dial session. So let's click Live Voicemail for that one. Let's click No Answer for this one. Anyway, I think you kind of get an idea here. Obviously, we've got our phone script option. We could edit that. Let's ask Finn how to edit our phone script. How can I edit my phone script? Okay, access script settings. Click on your initials in the top right. Done that. Dial session settings. We're in dial session settings. Phone script. Oh, look at that. There's the phone script right there. Then we can find our script. There's that script. We can click on edit and boom. Now we can start to customize it. Here you can see in the upper right hand portion of the actual script editor, you've got the option to use merge codes where you can enter the contact's information into the script, like their name, their any custom field information. All this information can get merged into that script, so you'll know the information you need to ask or check on or discuss with them without having to bounce back and forth between custom fields and the phone script. So let's take a look. What were the rest of the details here? Make changes, you modify. Okay, yep, perfect. And then of course, don't forget to save. Let's go back to our dial session. Let's go ahead and mark this one as no answer. A couple other things we'll just point out here while we got the dial session window open. You've got this actions menu where you can schedule appointments in the PhoneBurner calendar. So we click on schedule appointment. This PhoneBurner calendar can be synced with your Google Calendar if you want. But here we can add an appointment, add an event, choose the date and time of the event, save and close, and that gets put on our PhoneBurner calendar. We can launch dial sessions from the PhoneBurner calendar. Again, this can be synced to your Google Calendar. But typically, my recommendation, if it's an appointment, that's a specific date, a specific time, I'm typically not doing a dial session to a contact that I have an appointment with. I'm just picking up the phone and calling them. You're more than welcome to do a dial session to that person, but most of the time when it's an appointment, it's a little bit more scheduled, right? We're doing a very specific thing. I don't need to power through those. I just need to make that call or connect with them. A lot of time we're doing our appointments in Zoom now anyway, right? But you'll notice that the follow-up option is different. There is no time option here for follow-ups. And in my opinion, that's a different thing. A follow-up and an appointment are two completely different things. Follow-ups are date only. I don't have a time, I just have a date that I want to follow up with them. They may have told me a specific date, or I may have decided a specific date based off the conversation, but it is just a date in the future that I want to follow up with this specific contact. Now think about it. If you're making 100, 200, or 300 phone calls a day, and let's say you're having 30 or 40 conversations a day with people, not all of those are going to result in appointments. Not all of those are going to be not interested, right? They're not going to be polar opposites. You're going to have some people in between. That's where the follow-up comes into play, right? So set appointments is what I'm after. I'm trying to set appointments with people, specific dates, specific times, so I can close that business. But there's going to be a lot of conversations that result in something like, hey, I'm super busy right now. I'm bringing the groceries in. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Can you call me back in a couple days? Right? That's where the follow-up comes into play. And so let's say you get 10 follow-ups a day. This starts to get crowded, right? You start to end up, after a week, you got 50 follow-ups. After, a month, you got 40 follow-ups or, 200 follow-ups. It's a lot, right? So let's go ahead and set a follow-up date for Bucky. That moves us on to our next call. I'm going to end our dial session. I don't need to have the dial session window open anymore. But I want to show you something in the contact manager. Actually, let's ask Finn. How do I handle my follow-ups? Let's see what Finn has to say about it, and then I'll walk you through what we have out of the box for this. All right, so create a follow-up button. We already have that. Set up today's follow-up search. We already have that. That comes out of the box, and so I'll show you, but he's going to teach you how to create a follow-up saved search if you don't already have one. Daily workflow. After handling your main calling sequence, call 1, calls 2 through 14, and monthly nurture. Look at that. He remembers what we've already set up. We might want to consider our today's follow-ups. Additional options, you can also configure dispositions to automatically trigger follow-up emails, tags, and specific follow-up dates when moving contacts. Excellent, excellent guidance here. Let me show you what we have out of the box though. Let's go to contacts. You'll see in your quick views, there's already a today's follow-ups. If you don't already have one of these, then by all means, you'll want to follow the instructions that Finn can and did provide there. But for most of you, you're going to have a today's follow-ups already there, and you'll notice that it is empty. And the reason why is today's follow-ups is specifically looking in the follow-up folder for any contacts that have a follow-up date that is due today or before. So anybody who has a follow-up in the future is not going to show up here. So if I close this and I go to my follow-ups folder, you'll see that we have 2 contacts in here, both of which have follow-ups that are out in the future. If that follow-up date, and I'm going to go ahead and edit this contact, and I'm going to update the follow-up date to be, let's say, yesterday. Now if I go to today's follow-ups quick view, you will see Lionel is actually showing up in this view, and his follow-up date is red, indicating that it is past due. So the idea is that as you work, as you make phone calls, you're going to be connecting with people, and people are going to be asking you to follow up with them at some point in the future. You're going to set that date, click the disposition, and you're going to move on. Obviously, you're going to add notes too, but you're going to move on to the next call. And you're not going to think about that contact until they show up in your today's follow-ups. And so this just needs to be part of your routine. The point that you want to get to is where you have a simple routine to where every time you import data, it always goes into the same folder. In my particular case, that's the contacts folder. Everything starts there. And then we cascade from there through our saved searches. We've got our call 1, our calls 2 through 14, our monthly nurture call, and then we have our today's follow-ups, so that we never lose track of a single contact. And of course, our appointments are all on our calendar, and you never miss an appointment, right? Because it's on your calendar. And since we're not cluttering our calendar with follow-ups, with people we just want to check in with at some point in the future, our calendar has the urgency that it deserves. So if it's on the calendar, we don't miss it, because we've got reminders, we've got it on our phone, we've got it in this system, we can have email notifications sent to us. So appointments we don't miss, but they're not necessarily done in bulk, because you shouldn't have 15 calls at 1 o'clock on a Tuesday that are appointments, right? You might have 15 follow-ups on Tuesday, but you shouldn't have 15 appointments at the same time on the same date. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this specific training. There's a lot more that you can get done in PhoneBurner to help you streamline your prospecting process, to help you simplify your day, to help you focus on what matters most, and that is having live conversations with people, and as many of those as possible. Remember, most of us don't get paid to manage data. We don't get paid to organize our contacts, right? We get paid to have conversations, to close deals. And if we're not having conversations, setting appointments, following up with people, and closing those deals, we're not making money. And the idea is to configure your PhoneBurner account so you spend as little time as possible managing data and as much time as possible launching your dial sessions, calling through your contacts, and having as many live conversations as possible. And if you'll take the time to set up your account properly, don't spend a ton of time, spend an hour or two configuring your PhoneBurner account on day one, that's going to make you so much more efficient. And then you can refine it as time goes on, right? You can always ask Finn, after you've been dialing for a week or two, you can ask Finn, hey, how do I start sending, right? You can ask Finn different questions about how to use the system. And Finn has access to our knowledge base. He can review all of the different articles that we've created to teach people how to use the system, and he can give you guidance to help you configure and set up your account. But don't necessarily stress about getting it all set up on day one and having it perfect. Get a basic configuration set up. What did I do? I did this in less than an hour, right? I'll edit this just a little bit because I'm not perfect, but I'm going to edit this very limited because I want you to see how simple it is for you to get up and running with PhoneBurner and how PhoneBurner can help you stay focused, how PhoneBurner can help you stay on task, and how PhoneBurner can help you close more deals. And that's what we're all about here at PhoneBurner, is helping you be organized and talk to more people. So thanks again for taking a moment to watch this video, especially for those of you who made it all the way to the end. I know there was a lot of information thrown at you here. I hope you'll take advantage of Finn and the information that he has available to you. But don't forget, if you need some live help, we have a US-based customer support team here to help you. We try to handle everything via email as much as possible because that's so much more efficient. But of course, if you need a phone call, we will schedule some time with you. We want to help you be successful, but let's do it in the most efficient way possible. Thanks again, and happy dialing.